Welcome to 9rays.net. My name is Bryce Richard. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the code behind the wind chill index calculator, an application that I provided earlier. It was built with a program offered by 9rays.net called Instrumentation Widgets. Here is the code. Now, what I have open is Visual Studio, and we're looking at the form design for the front end, if you will, of the application. The code, as you can see, there it is. I mean, it's barely 15 lines. And the thing I like about that is that you've got 5 interactive controls that work together in different ways, along with what's called the matrix. That's this item here. This item's called the switch, and then a few sliders, and then you've got what's called the digital LED. These were all put together in code very easily and very quickly and effortlessly. What you see here is when the slider value changes, you see at the top there, it's slider value 1. When that changes, the slider value matches the digital LED dot text value. So what I'm basically saying is I'm writing code against this particular control that tells Visual Studio and the compiler that when I move this slider, it matches the value. Whatever's in the slider in terms of the value matches the digital LED. This area here in the properties, you can see that you can program against all of these different controls interactively. And they look very similar in kind to the Windows form controls that comes standard with the application. If we go back to the code, we can see that we have here is the formula, and you can get this formula to determine wind chill factor from any website that's weather oriented. And I just pop that in there as a function of an integer, and then match the integer, or I guess called the integer, in conjunction with the matrix text, and the answer based on the temperature and the wind speed is represented here in what's called the matrix, one of my favorite controls. Now, here is a tab that shows all of the 32 different controls that come with this package. This package runs $215 for a single license and $430 for a single license, called the Professional Edition. The only difference between the Standard Edition at $215 and the Professional Edition is that the Professional Edition comes with the code. It's written in C#, so it comes with the code. And I think that's very reasonably priced for something with this much utility and usefulness. The documentation is pretty good with this. It's very good, in fact. And but quite frankly, once you look at the controls, you can figure it out very quickly how to incorporate these particular widgets in your applications. So between the Windows form controls and these instrumentation widgets, you have almost the better part of 70 or 80 controls with which to use. I mean, that's a lot of utility and a lot of possibility. The last thing I wanted to show was how to install the Windows widgets controls. You don't have to install all of them. I've just elected to do that here. Once that you install the program, it'll be called widgets.msi. It's an installation trial program. You install that. Once you do that, you left click and then right click over any one of the you open up a new tab and open up the add remove items. Click that, and what that will do is bring you to an area in the application once it pops up here that allows you to select the variety of controls as a function of .NET controls. There's 2 tabs. One is called .NET Framework Component and COM Components. These are not COM Components, they're .NET Framework. And you can see all of the entries that in the namespace section say 9rays will be a function of the represented control. Now, if you wanted to go through here and select these fairly quickly, you just left click the namespace piece here, and it orders these alphabetically in an ascending or descending order, depending on how many times you left click it. And you have the listing here, as you can see, all of which I have selected. There's 32 of these controls. So once you select them and click OK, they become then posted in the tab of your choice. Certainly you could provide them, incorporate them with your Windows Forms tab, or I selected I opted rather to use a separate tab for that in the Instrumentation Widgets tab. It's a very, very interesting offering by Instrumentation through Instrumentation Widgets 3.0 by 9rays.net.